Hi everyone, Eva Thompson here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about why the intrusive thoughts in your relationship or about your relationship feel so real. So this video will be about intrusive thoughts or mental movies, depending on what you're struggling with. So we'll cover retroactive jealousy, ROCD, and relationship anxiety. So whether you're getting intrusive thoughts about your partner's past, about your relationship and its future, or about your feelings and how you feel about your partner today, we'll talk about all of that. A disclaimer before we get into it is that this video is not for people that are in toxic, abusive relationships. I recommend, if you are in a relationship like that, to do your best to get help in order to get out of it. In this video, like I said, we'll be talking about why the thoughts feel so real on an emotional level, even though logically you can understand that they are not significant, they are not important. If you struggle with relationship anxiety or ROCD and you get intrusive thoughts about whether or not you are compatible with your partner, whether or not they are the one, questioning your feelings about them, etc., then what I want to remind you is that acting out compulsions like reading Reddit posts or Google blogs or watching TikToks or Instagram reels about the 15 signs that you found the one, or maybe you talk to friends and family about what they think about your relationship, all of that is never going to lead to you getting over the relationship anxiety or the ROCD, or sometimes the retroactive jealousy as well, because sometimes RJ sufferers do this too. Looking for reasons outside or looking for signs and confirmation outside of yourself that this relationship is the one, that this person is right for you, that you should stay in the relationship. Although some of it might be comforting, at the end of the day, no relationship is the same as another one. You are unique. Your partner is unique, your relationship is unique. The more that you look for confirmation and guarantees outside your relationship, the worse in the long run you're going to feel. Even though, yes, you might get that temporary relief for a little bit, in the long run, you're not going to be able to overcome it. So what I would recommend is trying your best to not act out those compulsions of looking on Google, looking on social media at people that don't know you or your relationship at all, telling you whether or not you are compatible. Now, I know that when you get that emotional reaction to the intrusive thought, you obviously want to feel comforted. You don't like feeling this way. When it comes to relationship anxiety, RJ, and ROCD, generally OCD actually, when we get these intrusive thoughts, they feed off of one thing. No matter what it is that you're struggling with, no matter what the theme around the intrusive thoughts is, it always has to do with one thing, and that is the need to be in control, the need to have certainty, the need to have some sort of guarantee. So what I mean by this is, if you notice the intrusive thoughts, they always will feed off of uncertainty, and they always will start with what if. So having doubts or fears about your partner's past, for example, this is for RJ sufferers, you can't be 100% certain about what happened in your partner's past because you were not there. So even though you can ask the questions and you can stalk social media and you can do all of that, there will always be that 0.0001% that you won't know for sure. There is uncertainty there. And so the intrusive thoughts will keep feeding off of that. For people that struggle with relationship anxiety and ROCD, questioning the future of your relationship, what happens if we don't work out? What happens if I lose feelings for them? I found someone attractive today, does that mean that we're not compatible? Again, we can't control the future. None of us have any guarantees about how our relationship is going to work out, how we're going to feel about our partner in 5 years, even 1 year from now, how they are going to feel about us. And messiness in relationships occurs when we don't let go of that control. So you want to be in a relationship, you want the closeness, you want to be comforted, you want to be that, you want someone to love you and appreciate you, but you don't want to let go of control, be vulnerable, and take certain risks and live in that uncertainty, as well as giving the other person the ability to hurt you if they wanted to. This is when things get quite messy in a relationship because, again, people want the closeness, they want their love, they want the companionship, but they don't want to take risks. They don't want to give up control. They don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to open themselves up to potentially getting hurt. And so when you get the intrusive thoughts and you want to act out that compulsion for that sort of false sense of control, that false guarantee or certainty that you are craving, remind yourself to consciously begin to let go of that. No one has a guarantee about their future of the relationship. No one has a guarantee about whether or not their partner has lied to them. You can choose to trust them if you're going to be with them, and you might as well do, otherwise it's not going to work. It's important in all of this, because it has to do with control. OCD has to do with control. It's important to look at what you can control and what you can't. You're in a relationship, what can you control? You can't control what they think, you can't control how they feel, you can't control whether or not they lie to you. You can control your choices. I'm in a relationship, so I choose to trust them. When I act out a compulsion and I go and look through their things, that doesn't mean, that's not indicating that I trust them. And that's feeding the RJ, it's feeding the ROCD, it's feeding the intrusive thoughts. Talking about relationship anxiety, if I question my feelings, or I question whether or not we're compatible or the future of our relationship, and instead of focusing on being present and not looking on the outside so much for that validation, that guarantee, that will then lead to the intrusive thoughts slowly going away, because you're not acting out the compulsion. Whether it's a Reddit post, or whether it's a TikTok you saw, or whether it's a Google blog, or even if it's like the top psychologist in the world, it doesn't matter, because again, unless you're talking to them one-on-one about your situation specifically, the advice that they give generally to the general public might not be for you, might not be for your relationship. So we need to take responsibility, each and every one of us, and take control and focus on what we can control. I can control whether or not I want to trust my partner. It's not easy. Letting go of control means opening yourself up to potentially getting hurt if they decide to hurt you one day, if they decide to lie to you, if the relationship doesn't work out for whatever reason, if they lose feelings for you, if you lose feelings for them. No one has a guarantee. And the more you try to sort of, by obsessing over it, by ruminating, by Googling, by asking friends and family, by acting out compulsions generally to gain that control, the worse it gets. So that's the first thing that I wanted to just point out, is to trust yourself more. Work on your relationship with yourself, work on your own reality. Don't think people know you better than you know yourself, because the first relationship that you need to work on in order for the relationship that you are in to work out is the relationship you have with yourself. So trusting yourself, feeling good about yourself, working on any past traumas or things that you've been through that are affecting you today, that is the most important thing, instead of trusting the exterior so much. And there are a lot of people online, even my videos, guys, I say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You know yourself best, you know your situation best. The next thing I want to address is why the thoughts feel so real. And it's because you treat them like they are real. So the number one thing I say to people as soon as I get on a call with them is, when the intrusive thoughts come in, by fearing them, by dreading them, by fighting back, by taking them seriously enough to have to find reasons of why they're not important or why they are false, you are giving them power, because you are taking them seriously enough to then fight them. It's important to not suppress them either, but the number one thing that people do straight away is they get an unpleasant thought, whether it's about their partner's past, whether it's about the way they feel about their partner, whether it's about the future that they're gonna have with their partner. You get an unpleasant thought, and then you automatically try to fight back, scrambling to find reasons of why this thought is not important, and that is where you make them stronger. And what that causes is an emotional reaction within you. So you get scared, so you try to fight back, and they get stronger and you get more scared, and then you dread the thoughts, and then that's just more emotional reaction, more emotions when the intrusive thoughts come in. And when a thought is emotionally charged, it will keep coming back. So people get stuck in the cycle of, I get the thought, I don't like it, but I can't just let it be, I have to fight it. So you don't have to believe everything you think, you don't have to fight these thoughts. You can recognize them, that's a thought that I don't like, and then either use breathing techniques to calm your body down, because I know people go into fight or flight a lot as well. But as far as why the thoughts feel so real, I think this is the main reason, is people treat them like they are real, that they are important enough to have to fight against them, try to find reasons online by asking family, acting out compulsions, of why the thoughts are not important, why they're not significant, why they don't matter. And what happens, they just get stronger and stronger and stronger. The emotional reaction gets stronger, therefore the thoughts come back more and more, they feel more and more real, and you're just stuck in this loop. So take a step back, notice the thought when it comes in, and just label it as, that's an intrusive thought. That's not, some people say that's not me, it's OCD. But if you've not been diagnosed with OCD, you can say, that's not me, that's an intrusive thought. Doesn't need to go further than that. I don't like it, I don't like the way it makes me feel. I don't need to go and act out a compulsion, because that is just giving it power. You can also focus on your 5 senses to bring you back to the present moment, so you sort of get out of your head and you focus more on your present moment by focusing on what you can see, taste, smell, hear, etc. As well as breathing techniques. So I like box breathing. I recommended it to people. If you want to try box breathing, you can, but you can experiment with breathing techniques, see what works for you, because something that works for one person won't work for somebody else. But the number one thing that I would recommend taking away from this video, and my biggest point today, is when you treat the thoughts like they are real, when you treat them like they are important enough to have to fight against them, they will feel more and more real. It's not because it is real, and it's not because it matters, it's just an unpleasant thought that you have reacted quite intensely to, that then this loop forms and it keeps coming back, it keeps coming back, it keeps coming back. So try your best to not act out the compulsions. Focus more on what you can control, even if that means making a list. I can't control these things, but what can I control? I can control this, 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 and this. So you don't feel like this helpless victim, because that doesn't help anybody. Look up breathing techniques and remember not to take the thoughts so seriously. They are there, they are unpleasant. You are allowed to notice them and label them as intrusive thoughts that are unpleasant. I don't like this feeling, but it doesn't have to go further than that. So guys, I hope this video helped you. Please let me know down in the comment section below what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.